Hello, cosmonauts, and I should probably say future cosmonauts. Over the coming weeks and months, I am going to convert you guys into cosmonauts. I am unbelievably bullish on Atom, the token, and Cosmos as a blockchain. And we've covered this blockchain quite a few times, but we don't really cover it that regularly. You know, I've been in the crypto space long enough now to have watched the evolution of blockchain. We know blockchain is a technological revolution that is going to change the world. And when I talk about the evolution of blockchain, and I just want to spend a minute talking about this before we get into a price prediction from Vanik, that are essentially calling for a $140 price tag for Atom by the year 2030. We'll get into this. We'll get into why they think this and this whole kind of concept of layer zero. But I really just want to touch on the evolution of blockchain. You had Bitcoin, which is your first generation. Ethereum came about because you had Vitalik and a number of other people that came together and said, why don't we add some more capability to this blockchain? Thus, you had the birth of smart contracts, where you utilize the underlying blockchain as a validator to validate these contracts, which is the second generation. And now you have the likes of Cosmos or Polkadot. Remember, Gavin Wood from Ethereum actually went on to go and found Polkadot. And I'd also actually put other blockchains in there, like Cardano was third generation. Even though they aren't layer zero, so to speak, they are or ADA is an evolution, I think, of a second generation blockchain being Ethereum. And Ethereum itself will become third generation when it moves to proof of stake. I think proof of stake is part of that third generation sort of shift. Atom, of course, runs on Tendermint, which is its kind of validating mechanism. And it has something called SDKs. And for me, I think where the future is going is multi-chain. We're going to live in an interoperable world. And really, when you look at all technology, it's when you get that connectivity between them that the real boom occurs. And Atom is kind of at the forefront of that. Well, they are at the forefront of that as a layer zero blockchain that not just allows interoperability within the Cosmos ecosystem, but it also allows interoperability with the broader crypto world, whether that be your proof of work blockchains, Bitcoin, potentially Monero, or whether that be your proof of stake blockchains or your layer twos or whatever it may be. Cosmos is essentially bringing the world of blockchain. Thus, they call themselves the Internet of Blockchains together. And this is a really interesting concept. You know, I'm a huge fan of Polkadot. It's a shame that I see this kind of, and many of you will probably be already hardened Cosmonauts watching this. It isn't a plea, but it's a real shame that I see the kind of rivalry that is there between the Cosmos and Polkadot community. You know, I've seen all the sort of criticism that Polkadot isn't a layer zero or true layer zero, but I actually think that these blockchains are similar in what they're trying to do and should work together. And really, guys, you know, if you believe in the evolution, and you can of course have biases and favorites, but if you believe in the evolution of blockchain, if you believe in the vision at the core of what's trying to be achieved here, we really should move together as a industry or work together as an industry and try and further the adoption and the sort of utility of this industry. And like I say, this is a super blockchain that is, I still think today, overlooked. We'll talk about the price in relation to this price prediction. It's not my price prediction. I don't know where Atom's going to go to realistically, but I do know that it's going to do well. I still think Atom's going to sell off from $12 and come back down potentially to retest its lows that it made over here. But in the long term, I think it will do very well. And I think for me as an investor, you know, I trade these markets daily. By the way, I've got wrecked shorting Atom 1,000,001 times, guys, certainly over the past couple of months. It's just not the blockchain to short. And I think this somewhat has a lot to do with these guys and the kind of realization that, look, this is a pretty bloody interesting blockchain. I mean, not only as an Atom holder, if you stake, do you get airdrops of the sort of blockchains looking to deploy on Cosmos, and they're their own independent blockchains. The real difference with the likes of Cosmos and Polkadot and, you know, something like Solana or Ethereum is that on Solana and Ethereum, you can build an application, a dApp. With Cosmos, you can have your own blockchain. that is interconnectable with all the other blockchains on there, and actually they're going to look to sort of connect to the broader through these things called hubs, blockchain community. I still don't fully, I think I have a good understanding of Cosmos and how it works, but I still wouldn't say that I'm an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But what I am is excited about it, and we're going to share that with you in this video. So we're going to talk about a number of things, like what Cosmos is, what they claim to be. We'll look at this article because it's a really interesting one. I think these guys hit the nail on the head. They really sum up what I'm trying to say here. You know, this is kind of a visual representation of how Atom works. You've got Atom in the middle, you've got these sort of hubs or zones, connect to the wider sort of blockchain community, and then it all filters in and kind of interoperates. And the building kind of toolkit that you have for Atom is something called SDKs, which is super interesting. They also have interchain security, and a number of other things. But you know, part of the security of Atom is that if somebody can't sort of proof their own security, they can actually use atoms. That's the whole concept here. It's really selling security to blockchains and sort of throughput. But you can sort of utilize Cosmos's throughput, and then they actually, this is one way that tokens get distributed. They've done a lot. Lots of the blockchains that have deployed on them, like Osmosis, they're their own blockchains, but they're super interesting. It's a different way of doing things. You know, you have Cosmos Hub, which is Cosmos's blockchain. This is going to get complicated, kind of like Cosmos's smart contract layer, potentially. But it's from Cosmos as the kind of ecosystem, and I mean, Cosmos is a blockchain itself. Can you see what I mean about there's a lot to it, but we'll keep it short and kind of simple. You also have the Tendermint stack, and we'll get into the price. So where to start? Maybe we'll just start with what is Cosmos. So an introduction. Strictly speaking, Cosmos is a decentralized network of independent parallel blockchains, each powered by BFT consensus algorithm, like Tendermint consensus. So Cosmos is kind of a not one blockchain, but a network of blockchains, and Cosmos is the kind of at the heart of that. And then all these other blockchains will have their ecosystems, but they all are centered around Cosmos. I mean, Cosmos actually have DYXD, which was one of the largest exchanges on Ethereum, choose to move from Ethereum and come and use these guys. Lots of the Luna projects ported over. You know, it's really, really impressive what's going on here. And you've got the Cosmos Network 2.0 that we can talk about in another video. I just want to introduce people again. We've made videos talking about this, talking about why we think it's such a revolutionary concept. Again, as a Polkadot fan, this really appealed to me. So in other words, Cosmos is an ecosystem of blockchains that can scale and interoperate with each other. Before Cosmos, blockchains were siloed and unable to communicate with each other. They were hard to build and could only handle a small amount of transactions per second. Cosmos solves these problems with a new technical vision. In order to understand this vision, we need to go back to the fundamentals of blockchain technology. So we've kind of covered that in the generational progression of blockchains. You know, this is talking about the Tendermint stack, I believe, and how you've got your applications, your networking, and your consensus. So how does Cosmos fit the borders? You know, you can also bridge these chains or through zones, actually connect all these chains. It's really, really interesting. And they've got a lot of people deployed on them. They've got lots of huge backers. Again, this is a blockchain that seriously, I think, is going to do very, very well moving forwards into the future. Let's move on to this article from Vanik. Why we're so bullish on Cosmos. Vanik are a decent or a significant, in terms of size, digital investment hub and an investment sort of hub generally. So it says, our bullish thesis on Cosmos tokens center around the power of Cosmos' SDK, the importance of IBC, the clear production market fit of the Cosmos hub, and strongly value token. So if I wanted to build a dApp, if I wanted to build a blockchain, I can either do that from scratch and come up with my own consensus mechanism that works and scale up, you know, all these problems, or you can just use Cosmos. That is appealing. Very appealing. And also, somebody can either build a dApp or they can have their own blockchain. And they've actually made it, I'm not a coder, it's not as straightforward as building a dApp, but it's not, you know, a huge stretch from that. So you can see why people would use something like Cosmos. Instead of having a dApp, have your own blockchain. And Cosmos deal with the kind of back end of that. You have to deal with whatever specific, just like with Polkadot, you can deal with whatever specific needs you want your blockchain to have, whether that be smart contracts, whether that be DeFi, whatever it may be. So please note that Van Eek has a position in or positions in the Atom token described below. Based on our discounted cash flow analysis of potential Cosmos ecosystem value in 2030, we arrive at a $140 price target for the Atom token with a downside of $1. So I don't know whether that's where they have their stop. With the Atom's price at $10 as of the 8th, so the start of this month, we like the 14-to-1 odds presented and believe that it is a buying opportunity for this token. To arrive at this assumption, and we'll give a brief introduction, and they very much cover a lot of what I've said. They also mention Polkadot and actually Avalanche. Then we'll maybe look a little bit at the price. This is not really supposed to be a deep dive. We are going to do them. Like I say, I'm going to try and convert as many people as possible to cosmonauts. Now, I'm not saying buy here. I think we're going to get lower prices. I think the price goes below $10 again. In fact, I'm pretty confident. You know, you guys know that we've been calling more downside from 44K. We got how we thought 2021 was going to end wrong, and then we kind of flipped bullish. Sort of at the start of this, or bearish, I should say, at the start of this year. We weren't the first out, but we were certainly out 44K and getting out of altcoins. And obviously, Bitcoin went right the way down to 17K. I still think the environment and the macro is a driver here. And we know how revolutionary blockchain is. But it doesn't matter in the sense that a market is driven from money and dollars. And in a time period where everyone wants dollars, you know, you don't want to be in what they're going to sell to get those dollars. You know, there's a liquidity. Please watch my daily cryptocurrency market updates. We go into the macro a lot more. I think I have a reasonably good understanding of it, even though I'm not a macroeconomist, but I've had to dive into this sort of macro world. As a crypto investor, you need to, if you want to be a serious one, if you want to be, you know, managing funds essentially, and even trading, you know, it kind of helps for me. Whenever I trade, I always have a broader thesis that I'll work down to an individual trade off of. So I do think this goes low. So this isn't a call for you guys to buy Cosmos, but it's a call for you guys to do some bloody research and to get on board with this revolution that is Atom. Because I actually can see this doing very well, along with Polkadot, along with many of these sort of smart contract blockchains that are your third generation. I think Ethereum does well. But I think, and one thing that I've seen a lot in this space, when we talk about DeFi, one thing that really annoys me is people will just literally, you know, it's kind of like Sushi Swap, vampiring Uniswap. Most DeFi out there has just copied it from somebody else and done it in a slightly different way and maybe have some sort of USP, unique selling point. But largely, there's nothing different. This is one reason I love Atom and Polkadot, because they're doing something different. And again, I just want to stress this. I wish those communities could come together and really go after multi-chain. Not that they won't do it individually. So we'll read a little bit and then I'll love and leave you because the video's gone on for 12 minutes. You guys know I like to ramble and I do apologize for that. An introduction to the Cosmos Hub. What is Layer 0? A Layer 1 smart contract blockchain like Ethereum is simply an enterprise platform that hosts decentralized applications while enabling payments between users. Ethereum generates revenue by charging deployers of smart contracts storage fees. It's a fee for using the network. It's a fee for using the underlying blockchain, essentially, and validating it. While exacting a toll on users who send transactions or utilize the deployment smart contract. Conceptually, these customers bases can be segmented into B2B and B2C components, with the deployers of smart contracts thought of as businesses and the end users of the blockchain thought of as customers. Ethereum rents secure storage space to those businesses to host their enterprise and sell the block space to users that allow them to interact with the businesses or send funds. This is a simple business model with some tweaks defined most Layer 1 blockchains. So I've always said this. People go, oh, well, you know, what's the inherent value of blockchain? There's nothing that backs it. Well, what's the inherent value of Amazon? Yes, they now have, you know, if you were to liquidate the company, you'd pull some money out of it in maybe the assets that they hold. But the inherent value of something like Amazon and many of these internet-based companies is you guys. They're providing a service. What do you think smart contracts are doing? And there's really, the limits are endless to what you can do with smart contracts. I come from the dental trade, and even in that industry, which is a very sort of siloed industry, you can find applications where you can use smart contracts. Record keeping is a perfect one. you know, appointment slots. You could even you could really, once this gets going and becomes simple enough to do, you're really going to see this smart contracts take over the world. Blockchain is absolutely a technological revolution. It's going to change all our lives. By contrast, layer zero blockchains like Cosmos Hub, Polkadot, and Avalanche are highly specialized B2B models. The main customers are other blockchains, and the product provided is security. In essence, a layer zero is a type of blockchain software that coordinates a network of computers where hosted blockchains can deploy their blockchain data and blockchain logic to have it executed to make transactions. This allows the hosted blockchains or security customer chain, so these are the layer ones, to execute its suite of functions and applications in an environment protected by the layer zero security. So this is the revolutionary thing. These guys aren't saying we're going to build this or we're going to build that, or we're going to allow you to build that. They're saying we're going to allow you to build your own blockchains. You can do whatever the hell you want. We'll just deal with the kind of problems that are associated with building a blockchain, like security. Have this trilemma: security, scalability, and decentralization. And there is, and I will say there's some questionability in regards to decentralization for Atom, because the validators for the Atom network are somewhat limited, but this is all... Many blockchains out there that you think are decentralized are not, including Ethereum in some ways, including many of these blockchains, and we can argue about that all day long. Blockchain is a vision. You never start off at the goal. You never start off in, you know, having scored the goal. You have to run up the pitch to get there, you know, and this is the whole... The goal is decentralization. Nobody starts off decentralized. Blah, 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 blah. So we've read all this. Because consumer chains deploy as blockchain logic to the layer zero rather than as smart contracts codes on layer one. They are free created custom environments and so on and so forth. And people say, okay, well, what's the value for Atom? What's the value for the token? Well, that token secures and validates everything built on top of it. And that could be in the multi-billion, I think 50 billion. I can't quite remember the number, but there's a lot on there. You know, and I do think that this coin is going to do very well. I'm not going to give you a price prediction. These guys are giving you a $140 price prediction. I can say where I think the coin's going to go, and I can tell you I think it's going to go well above all-time highs, and the all-time highs were $46, so that's a 289%. I think it's going to go above and beyond that into the future. I'm not buying here, but I will be buying lower down. And that is really all I've got for you guys. So hopefully, little introduction again into Cosmos. Bit of a price prediction from somebody else, which everybody loves on YouTube. They love to hear about the price, and then they kind of envision the money that they've already made. You know. Anyway, that is all I've got for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed this content, bit of a longer drawn-out video, a like is always appreciated, so is a comment, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube one. Let me know in the description the Cosmos projects that you guys are excited about. Maybe you even hold them. And really what I should look into and cover next in regards to this blockchain. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen.